All right. Well, unfortunately, the only visuals I have for you are well, first, the title of the video is 48 Hours Fast, as I am now about 48 hours through a journey of not consuming food, or I'm only consuming water and a few herbal tinctures designed to aid the process of healing some of the conditions that I live with. Now, unfortunately, an unfinished, uncapped vent is all I have for visuals for this video as I'm laying in bed. I'm going to explain the fasting process as I attempt to achieve 198 hours without breaking the water fast. So, I don't know anything about my audience, their experience with fasting, their scientific knowledge on fasting, their spiritual knowledge on fasting. So it's very difficult for me to move quickly, but I also have to be very rudimentary and cover all the basics here. So depending on a person, before I would encourage somebody else to fast, I'd suggest they spend many hours researching the spiritual, emotional, as well as the scientific things behind fasting, so that when feelings of discomfort arise during the fast, it doesn't set off alarms to make a person think that they need to go to the doctor. And that is the topic of the first 48 fast. While I still have really clear cognitive ability, tomorrow will be day 3. That has cliche context of being the most difficult day for every faster, for many reasons. But tomorrow I'll go over some of that stuff. But today we're gonna talk about some of the symptoms that I have from fasting, because I'm sitting in bed. This was on my head, but I got a winter hat and I'm under the covers and I have multiple layers on. Reason being is because the very same symptoms that you experience during a cold is the same symptoms during a fast. The reason being is when the body is invaded by too many toxins, whether it be bacteria or this, that, or the third, in order to remove the toxins, in order to remove the bacteria from the body has to enact its defense system. The way it does that, first and foremost, it elevates the body temperature to increase metabolic activity. The reason for that is it wants to get all of these toxins out of the body fast. You need to drink lots of water and stop eating food when you are sick. Now, the common mistake that everybody makes, and medically trained doctors, they erroneously advise patients to reach for things like Tylenol, Advil, NyQuil, Benadryl, or any other pharmacia at the onset of symptoms, and this could not be any more incorrect unless it's something immediately dangerous, in which case you don't want to take Tylenol or NyQuil if you have Ebola. And I know that that's an over dramatization, but seriously, so the whole process of the body healing, I'll give you an example. In my intestines, if I was to have any parasites, any worms, they're all dying right now because I haven't fed them carbs for 48 hours. They're all dying. It has to consume the other worms that are in there. So I'm literally fighting a war of attrition against worms that are in my and the thing about these worms is they're eating my food that I'm digesting for them. I'm using the enzymes to digest the food, and they're consuming it. So they're robbing me of my food. And they're defecating in my body. So the nutrients that I was going to use in my body are going to the worms. The worms are taking the nutrients, giving it to themselves to multiply, and then they're leaving my intestines with the toxins. So what I'm doing the first 2-3 days is I'm starving out the parasites, and the parasites are dying. Now, science calls this a Jaris-Hersheimer reaction in regards to the killing of bacteria. However, the Jaris-Hersheimer reaction is not exclusive to the killing of bacteria, regardless of what scientists say. So I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to say one of the reasons I'm fasting is I'm preparing for the second wave of coronavirus, and it's not going to be a pleasant sight for people. So I personally am going to be immune, even though there's no such thing as immunity. No such thing as immunity. No, I don't know who told you that. I don't know who put that idea. Actually, I do know who told you that, and I do know who put that idea in your head. But I'm just going to end it here. This is, one of the things about fasting is also an emotional reboot. So as you can see, I got really worked up, and we're going to talk about all the stuff that, I have another almost a full week to sit here and discuss the process of fasting. So for me, it's a sacred journey. Muslim practice it, Christian no longer practice it, Hindu practice it, Buddha practice it, right? It is so sacred, and it is a connection to the divinity within oneself. Look at what's going on around in the world, right? I simply want to cleanse the vibrational frequency to my body, because everybody is tense right now. And my emotional cleanse, literally sitting here, and when I tell you I'm doing nothing, my reading apprehension is lower. Everything is just dormant right now, and it's dealing with the emotions going through the body, feeling the toxins, letting the body do what it hasn't been allowed to do. It's so undescribable, somebody who has never fasted before, who jumps right into it, will start crying hysterically. It's unexplainable. And it's similar to if you think about a relationship, if you think about a situation, a job, a relationship, the closure that comes at the end of a relationship is never comfortable. So but the battle is over, is what I'm saying, right? So when it comes to fasting, those first 3 days are so intense, but once it's over, closure is achieved, and the person can begin to truly heal. So this is day 2 of my journey, and I have I have cold chills. I'm sitting here in a normally a normal temperature house, and I'm going through a whole cleansing process, and I'll have many videos at the end of every day as a reflection. It's a good vlog for me. My memory going through a fast will be altered. My dreams will be so surreal and sublime, and I'll be only sleeping. I don't sleep. I sleep for 2 or 3 hours and I get up and my body is tired, but it's active. And the amount of sleep that I require to repair the damage from is none. I'm not eating, I'm cleansing, I'm healing. And so I said this vlog will serve as a purpose for me, that at the end of the fast, or at times where me personally, no matter how many times I've fasted, whether it be 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, whether my record of fasting is 48 hours or 256 hours. A vlog like this is very important for a person that when they set goals on my third, fourth day, or as I near a threshold that I can safely cross. And sometimes all I need is that all I need to do is look back upon my nightly recaps to remind myself why I'm doing this. And in case I forget, literally, if I forget what I did yesterday from fasting, from all the emotional and physical toll, in case I forget some of the progress and the milestones that I have reached, this fast I intend to do 198, simply because, did I say 198 or 182? I forget. Whatever 8 days is. The reason I set that is because it's only 12 hours past my previous record, and I want to stress this: is setting a record is not important. It's actually dangerous. That's any time in my fast, I will have a revelation. There will be a very what would be called serendipity, the finding of something without actually looking for it. At some point in my fast, my body, my mind will reach a serendipity that I didn't know, that I didn't understand. And even now, I wouldn't consider myself an expert, but I am experienced in fasting. Even now, I have no idea what I'm going to experience. And this is something I've personally experimented with. Squatting, a single rep front squats at day after day on a fast. I've been able to maintain it for 5 days, right? 5 days was my how long I could keep the pattern going. So I began the fast on day 1, and I did a front squat, a single, for I think it was 95% of my overall max, and I came in the next day and I did that again, and I came in the next day and I did that again, came in the next day, I did that again, and I came in the next day and did that again, just to explore and investigate the fact that the system that we use to move our bodies is neuro before it's neuro before it's muscular. And the experimentation is inspired by Shaolin monks and other sects of monks who perform marathon fasts, meaning they will fast and run multiple day marathons. Marathon not being 25 kilometers. I'd have to look it up. Maybe tomorrow I will begin the vlog with a reading of that, of the things that the monks do as they run a pilgrimage from holy site to holy site, and the only time that they are allowed to consume water is during prayer at various stages in their journeys. And they have done this for they carry this out for days upon days. And at the very, very, very end of exhaustion, at the very threshold of giving up, some monks are able to achieve some type of a sublime escape from what they call nirvana. And it's an honor to be able to partake on a journey, a sacred journey that those from many indigenous cultures have taken and shared. And through these practices, ancestral memories, the very concepts of time and distance are blurred. And the paradigm that we live in with the English language and science in the state that it's in, it doesn't provide the mental faculties to describe what actually happens. One has to experience it for themselves. And the last thing that I will mention, the takeaway with this is anybody can talk and explain their experiences. And I'm not just talking about fasting. Anybody can speak on or create the illusion of truly knowing something. However, two people, I personally could fast in the same room or in the presence of a person who does not speak the same language as me. And during the fast, not a word would need to be said because the act of knowing is understood. However, convening with a person who relies on textbooks and data to describe a fast will never know what it is. Will never understand or know what we are talking about when we say a sublime escape from nirvana or a contact with the divine. And unfortunately, there are specific religious texts out there I'm not going to get into, which are actually specifically designed to prevent you from reaching that escape. I can't explain it to you. But there are religions and texts and stuff out there to prevent you from getting to what it is that you as a human being were meant to achieve. I'm not talking destiny. We are not one-dimensional creatures. I can't. You know, which is why silence and music, which is what you'll hear in the background, it is silence. There's no words, but it's so healing. It's refreshing. It sets a baseline, a tone for my spirit to adhere to as I'm navigating the mental puzzle that's in front of me, attempting to communicate to you what you have never experienced, right? And the closest thing that I can describe it to you is music without words. Light without origin. So after all this is said and done, I have 30 seconds till I reach a 20-minute mark. I guess that's a nice round number. When all that is said and done, literally everything I've said was just an example of this emotional craziness, this defragmentation that goes on in my brain that I'm just I'm literally letting my ego realize that there's other things in control, or there's other things acting in my body, and I'm learning to trust billions of years of evolution and not be like these Western scientists and try and stop the most advanced system that Earth has ever created. And this is an ode to it. And with all this bullshit going on in the elections, this is my ode, this is my dedication to 4 billion years of evolution and existence on this planet. Because this world is fucked up.